Welcome to episode 24 of the Ride and Aspire Rockcast. Today I'm taking you on my creativity walk in Austria. I'm walking through a suburban area, so you may hear cars, you may also hear other people or children playing, but I really wanted to record this episode for you today, even though I know there may be some noises, so I couldn't take you into the forest to record this, but I wanted to do it because I have two topics that have been on my mind for quite some time, and in this episode I'm going to address the first of these topics, and it's about how I believe that the marketing of the big bike brands is somewhat destroying our image, is destroying our self-confidence, and also, in my opinion, conveying a wrong image of what mountain biking is and should be. I came up with the idea for this episode a few months ago already, actually, but since I've been coaching so much lately, I've had 5 weeks of back-to-back coaching over 250 riders in the last 5 weeks, that I notice that it's not only in my head, but that a lot of riders are telling me exactly the same. So they are reflecting my thoughts, and that's why I really wanted to talk about this today, because I think we need to create awareness for this dilemma, and for this, it's almost like a dichotomy that has appeared in the mountain biking world, that I wanted to talk about it because maybe some of you are not aware of it, and I think creating awareness for this is something we can all do much more in the mountain biking world, because through mountain biking, I believe we can contribute to making the world better, to creating more self-reflection, but also to creating more awareness for nature and for what we may need to create more happiness and generally just more well-being on the entire world. As I said, I came up with the idea for this episode a few months ago, and that was when I was sent a video of, well, the video was published by one of the largest mountain bike brands in the world. I'm not going to say who it is because it's not about talking badly about a brand. It's just, this video was just another example of what marketing nowadays promotes and perhaps also wants to make us believe what mountain biking is. And in my opinion, it's not at all the only facet of mountain biking, which is why I want to talk about this today. So the video was made by a huge brand and by a racer, a very prominent racer. And the video was a tutorial about how to ride tight switchbacks. And in this video, he just showed two techniques. The first technique was to do a nose pivot turn. So to ride around the corner with your rear wheel in the air, rolling through the corner on your front wheel only, which is a super advanced technique. It is cool, yes, but in my experience, only about 10% of the riders out there will have the skill level to actually attempt this, let alone to attempt it in a technical section like he showed it, which was a super slippery, super rocky and rooty steep section. So I would say probably even only 5% of the riders could perform it there, and simply, well, not if they just do it there, but it would require them to do a lot of practice off the trails to build those movement patterns and then to take it onto the trails. And the second technique he showed was to just lock the rear brake and to skid around the corner. And that's it. He just showed these two techniques to ride a tight switchback as if there were no other techniques, as if these were the only ways to ride a tight switchback. And this tutorial was not labeled for expert riders or for racers or for anyone in specific. It was just a general tutorial about how to ride tight switchbacks. So now, I'm not saying these two techniques are wrong. No, obviously they are very valid techniques. This is a world-class rider, so of course they are fast, if he performs them, they are safe, and it's a valid technique to ride tight switchbacks. However, For, as I said, about 90% of the riders out there, they are not realistic. Not now, maybe not even in a few years, maybe never, because both of them, well, the first one is super technical, super advanced, and the second one, just locking the rear brake and skidding through the corner. If everyone out there did that, then most of the trails, especially here in Europe, where the trails are not maintained, where they are natural hiking trails, would be closed within no time. So this technique is definitely not the only way, not the most popular way, and not the safest way to ride a tight switchback. However, of course, it is, let's call it in marketing language, it's a spectacular technique. So of course it's going to get a lot of watches, it's going to get a lot of yo, send it bro, nice, sick, all that kind of language. However, it's not going to help the image of our mountain biking sport in general. And in my opinion, we need to address this because a lot of riders out there, especially older riders who are getting into this sport now for the first time, think they need to ride like that to be real mountain bikers. So they need to skid around corners, or they need to send it, or they need to do these stunts to be considered a real mountain biker. And while this is okay if you're riding like that in bike parks or in maintained trails or on trails that are generally built for riding only and maintained by trail builders, it's absolutely okay if you ride like that. I'm not saying it's wrong. But if you do that on natural trails where this video was filmed, and if you promote this type of riding as the most popular type of riding, then mountain biking will be very dangerous. It will create a lot of erosion and a lot of rutted trails, and a lot of people will think that if they're not riding like that, they're not real mountain bikers, and this will very often create a low motivation, low self-esteem in riders who are, in fact, mountain bikers because they own a mountain bike, they're out on the trails having fun, and who is anyone to say that you're not a real mountain biker if you don't do X, Y, Z? You see, I coach about 1,000 riders in person per year. I coach several thousand people online per year. So I'm one of the coaches out there who has a lot of contact to the people who buy mountain bikes, who buy the equipment, who read Pink Bike, who consume the stuff that all these big marketing brands are marketing. But in my eyes, I think that most of the marketing and most of what these brands are promoting is not actually designed for these people. I see that most of the marketing, most of what's flashy, most of what gets a lot of likes, a lot of clicks, and a lot of loud, let's call it noise, out in the media is actually a type of riding that is only a small niche, but a lot of people think that this is the real mountain biking. Another example, and one more reason why I wanted to talk about this in this episode, is I published a reel, a short video on Instagram about one of the most foundational skills, and a skill that most riders out there, even the pros I've worked with, can improve on, and that is body positioning. Body positioning is not a simple skill, it's actually a fundamental skill, but it's a skill that needs to be adapted, improved until you die. Body positioning is never, it's not like a set and forget thing. It's something that you constantly need to adjust because mountain biking is a dynamic sport. So you need to understand the concepts of body positioning, and you always need to adjust it to the demands of the trail. And that's why it's a fundamental skill, it's a foundational skill, yes, but it's definitely not a basic skill. It's a skill that you will need to improve over and over. You will need to perfect the more advanced you get. So the more advanced you become, the more nuanced your foundational skills should be. And actually what differentiates a mediocre rider from an excellent rider is the nuances of the foundational skills, like for example, body positioning and braking. And I published this video about body positioning, and it's about a huge roll down. So it's a large roll down that I'm comparing how not to and how to do it. And within the first hours, I received about 30 comments saying, lame, just drop it, just send it, what a loser are you, why would you roll that, I just drop it. And those kind of comments, they don't only demotivate people who are new to the sport, they also convey that image that you're only a real mountain biker if you send it, if you ride in a risky way. And I'm here to tell you that I'm one of those people working with a lot of riders every year, and I see it that I would say about 90% of the riders out there are adults, and they don't even want to risk it. They don't even want to send it. Yes, they may want to do small jumps or have safe airtime, but the majority of the riders, the majority of the people actually buying the marketed product are people who don't want to risk it. They are just risking it because they think they need to be a real mountain biker, or they think it's the price you need to pay to improve, but you don't actually. If the marketing went more into the direction of mountain biking can be just riding some trails by the beachside and having a good time without risking anything. If marketing would address the, let's call it, nature-loving perspective more and make that just as cool as all the shred-based maneuvers, then I believe more people would actually have the balls to own their ride. Because in my opinion, oh, car coming, I'm going to stop talking for the car to pass. Because in my opinion, most people, they do these maneuvers or they attempt these maneuvers because they see it everywhere. So in all the marketing in YouTube and Instagram, everywhere, everyone's showing these spectacular moves. And when someone does it who really knows how to do it, then it looks easy. So people attempt this, not knowing how dangerous they can be, and then they get hurt. That's something that I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. Mountain biking is a very versatile sport, and just because you're not riding in a risky way, just because you're not locking your rear wheel and skidding around corners, just because you cannot nose pivot turn or huck into the flat and feel cool about it, just because you don't do that, it doesn't mean you're not a mountain biker. Why can't everyone just find mountain biking for what they enjoy? So what sets your soul on fire, that's what your mountain biking should be about. And I just believe that we shouldn't allow marketing to tell us what is cool and what not. But I'm just sad to see that so much of what is being promoted by huge brands is this let's shred, huck and pray, big jumps, which also is important. Just to make a point, I don't say it's wrong, I don't say this is not mountain biking. It is an important part of mountain biking, but it's not the only thing that is real mountain biking. And I just want to invite you to say, okay, if that's mountain biking for you, then great. For me, it may not be. And to find the mountain biking that you enjoy and to look at other things, because when marketing notices that we don't watch all these things, that it's not the only thing that matters, then I do believe they will start to market a different type of riding as well. And also I would like to address the marketing brands out there. Please always think of your responsibility towards the sport. If you're promoting shred life riding, so just locking the rear brake and skidding the wheels around corners, if this is something you're promoting as a video for everyone, then please think of the consequences of what you're promoting. I believe if everyone did that in all of their acts, if they just thought, okay, if everyone did what I'm doing right now or what I'm promoting, would the world be a good place? If everyone acted upon this mantra, I believe the world would be a much better place. And if those marketing brands really thought about that for a second and said, okay, if everyone skidded around corners like we're showing in this video, and this is not on maintained trails, but on all trails in the world, and even on maintained trails, I mean, think of all the trail work that needs to be done. If everyone rode like that, then what would mountain biking be like? How would the trails of this world be like? And next question, how would the trails be like for our kids? Is this something that is sustainable in the long run? And if not, then why am I promoting it? Because after all, if there are no trails left, who's going to buy the mountain bikes? Who's going to buy all the components? So that is just something that I wanted to address because I think it's sad. Of course, I know it is a part of mountain biking. I know it's also important for the mountain biking sport to have idols who do those risky stunts, but it's not everything there is. And I do believe that the marketing could go more into the direction of what the majority of riders actually ride like, and to bring out tutorials that will actually help the majority of the riders and not just demotivate them or motivate them to do risky stuff or stuff that actually damages our trails. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Do let me know in the comments what you think about this. Share it in either below this episode on YouTube or over social media with me. Thank you so much for being here till the end. If you'd like to support my podcast, buy me a coffee. You'll also find the link below, or become a patron. Sending you much love from Austria. I'm Roxy. Goodbye.